Get ready for the very intense guilt tripping to start, okay? And most of the collective is already in the midst of detaching, like, completely from people that they cut off. There's less like flip flopping or like, I don't know, is that term like riding the fence or whatever? In regards to maybe, especially if it was like family members, maybe you would cave around like holidays or birthdays and stuff like that. And that could apply to like toxic relationships too, or whatever. Even like an ex who you always went back to around like Valentine's Day or something like that. I don't know. But I'm getting that like because they can feel, this is like a little spiritual, okay? But like energetically, people can even see shit in their dreams, right? Regardless of if they believe or not, they could like tell and know that you're actually moving on this time and you actually don't care anymore. um you know for some of you, you may care like 1 or 2%, and that 1 or 2% could quickly be turning into like negative 100%. And so it's almost like, I don't know, the little like gremlin on their shoulders, like, oh, ooh, you better go like make them feel bad. Remind them about everything you did for them. You know, you can ignore the part where you threaten to ruin their life. You can ignore the part where you uh, you know, gaslit them into acting like you don't know what cheating means and stuff like that. And like, oh, you can forget the part where you uh accuse them of being insecure for, them calling you out on having a work wife. You know what I mean? But they want to remind you of everything that they did do for you, and the fact that you were so ungrateful, and you weren't perfect either, and like, you make mistakes too. I know it's like, usually I don't like to, cuz I can like hear uh a lot of like shit that people say, and some of it is very like toxic and low vibrational, so I don't always like share that or whatever. But I'm kind of saying it now just to prepare or desensitize you, because again, a lot of the collective does not care, but it's giving that like you're being like confronted in some way, okay? It could even be in some triangulated sense. And like, you have to, like, if you're like listening to this and you're like, oh, they can guilt trip me as much as I want, I don't really care. That's good, but like, I feel like you may feel compelled to prove how much you don't care to them, or like, I don't know. There's just a sense of like, you need to gray rock them when they do this, because they want you to say anything, anything. And the best thing that you could do is like, I don't know, literally like slam the door in somebody's face, or maybe not something obviously that drastic, but if they come to your house, um something like that. But it's giving like, let them just hear the echo of their own words, because they know what they did to you. But if you even try to bring up anything that they did to you, that like, oh, the reason why I'm cutting you off is justified because of X, Y, and Z, they will split hairs and like into anything that you say. So it's better to just like ignore them. And again, I kind of made a message about this yesterday, but you have to like, with these people, you have to practice, like, if they say something to you, even to your face, just like pretend that you didn't like you they didn't say anything at all. Like, you have to learn how to mute out the sound of certain people's voices, and you don't, I mean, just don't respond. Like, just literally physically do not open your mouth when they say something, and like, don't even like change your facial expression. Just act, because I know some people are like, oh, F that. I want to tell them about themselves. But that still like is giving them energy. That gives them more energy from you than they deserve. You know, they deserve for you to treat them as if they don't exist. Because I'm getting that it could be like family members who are like, who like on paper say, yes, maybe somebody like got you a car, or like say somebody like, I don't know, always got you gifts or whatever. But then they, again, like, they were, again, like, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, physically, even, or even like intimately like abusing you or whatever or something like that. And so it and like a lot of those things are hard to prove, right? You know what I mean? Especially in like I'm getting that a lot of the collective could be dealing with people who are essentially like the dark magician types because like where they just manipulate everything and they could be like smooth talking like con men type and like or like because it's not just masculine to or toxic, obviously. It's like feminine to use their like femininity to manipulate the narrative and like accuse people of like being aggressive towards them when they weren't. You know what I mean? So that's why you just like if you I'm just getting that you have to just not respond because it's giving that like they will twist anything that you say, and any response that you give them they will also process that as like, oh, they interact with me, they still care. Okay, because some of you, I'm getting that like certain people could have, I'm almost like, and I hate saying this, I don't know if it's like triggering or whatever, but it's giving that like someone was like literally abusive to you in private all the time or like in subtle ways, but like somebody is like doing that to you. Okay, and then they would make a big show about like sending you a present maybe. Okay, and then like an unwanted gift, and maybe you like didn't even open the gift and you like threw it away, and then they're like going to want to like shame you and guilt you for doing that and be like, oh well, obviously I care about you so much. And it's almost giving that like this triangulated sense of, say that you have, this is just an example, say you have like two parents who are both horrible in their own ways, let's just put it that way, but they divorce. Technically they should be like why are you guys like defending each other? But it's something about like, I don't know, they were like mutually hurting you. Like obviously they were together for a reason. Okay, so it's giving that like they both know what they did to you, but they kind of like take the fall for one another too in order to like confuse you, to try to like, because they think that, oh, if one of them has like an in with you then the other would have an in with you. You know what I mean? So they would like make you empathize with one of them to like open up a little bit, so then they would like make you empathize with the other one to where that they both would regain that control over each other. And they could be doing this while they like hate each other. You know what I mean? Because but they desire to destroy you in some way even more. And if that doesn't, like, you're like, no, trying to destroy me, then it's not your message. Because some people, yes, that is a reality. I don't know how to else to explain it. Okay, but yeah, so because I literally like had dreams about this, and it could just be things that like if you're intuitive and people know you're intuitive, they like focus on an energy enough, or like not everybody who's intuitive is like high vibrational. There's plenty of like really toxic, low vibrational people who have spiritual abilities too, regardless of how they gain those abilities or whatever. That's kind of irrelevant, but it's giving that like people could be projecting guilt on you even if they are never actually able to speak to you in person. Um, it just like could be, you could be feeling some guilt creep up, you know, for cutting certain people off, or even having dreams that sort of make you try to like feel bad for people that you cut off, so that you gaslight yourself about like, oh, did they actually even treat me that bad? This is your confirmation. Yes, yes, they did actually treat you that bad. Don't like, I'm getting that some of you could have even like written in your like diaries or journals from when you were like a teenager or just like a kid or whatever, to your future self, like, hey, they do this, this, and this, never bring your future kids around them, or like, like, I know you're going to maybe forget or whatever, but never forgive them. you know it's just like in moments of lucidity, you've always like known, yeah, I don't want anything to do with these individuals, and then you sort of like start to fall back into that cycle of like, oh, was what they did to me actually even that bad? Yes. And we've already spent too much time on them. um but it's just like, I think that if you're prepared for that energy, or just like you, I don't know, if you remind yourself that all of your decisions were like justified or whatever, and to just not take those people back, then you'll be fine.